Today, guys, we're going to talk about exactly how I got here. You're going to hear the story of the excavation business growth over the last 9 years, some of the failures, the mistakes, some of the successes, and talk about some of the people that got us here. Come along. Started out when I was 23. Me and Sarah were 23 years old. I had done various odd and end jobs. I worked for a few municipalities, worked for a few contractors, a few different positions and careers. I thought I was chasing. Spin around, there was a lot of places that I worked that I just really didn't love how I was getting treated. And I'd come home and I was upset about how something, transpired through the day, or how we attacked something, or maybe a digging situation, maybe a personnel issue, whatever it is. But just be upset about it. And through that transition of working for folks, I ended up working at a place, was running 5 or 6 crews of guys. I was driving my own personal truck. There was 8 or 9 or 10 pieces of equipment, a whole bunch of stuff that was really high dollar and lots of liability. And of course, I went back and forth with them of, hey, we're doing all right here. I feel like I'm doing my job. I feel like $17, $18 an hour is probably a little low for what I'm putting out capacity-wise. And I got met with a response that I didn't appreciate, but at the same time, yeah, thank God. Thank God he didn't give it to me. And because I wouldn't be here, wouldn't be working with the team that we've got nowadays. But that's what made me literally make the leap of, hey, I can do this better. I can treat people better. I didn't come into this, don't get me wrong, it comes with the fancy stuff and the cars and the trucks and think you're gonna make millions, and you have that thought process. And in the early years like that, you're not thinking about costs, you're not thinking about expenses, you're a brand new business. And before I go too far, I actually was in business with a guy before Sycon, and I don't think I've ever talked about it on the channel. Sold my house, grabbed the equity out of my house, lived in a camper out of my in-laws' land, and partnered up with this guy that don't ever do a business deal at Applebee's. That's all I gotta say. It's like, it's me and Sarah's running joke at this point. But we went in business. He bought the machine, I bought the truck, he bought the trailer, and I went to pulling that machine around. Well, there was 2 of us, 1 machine, so it was my job to bury the machine in work. And that's what I did. I sent a bunch of emails, made a bunch of phone calls, cold called, I can't tell you how many contractors in our area, led to some work, led to some rejection. But I didn't see a paycheck or any money back in like 14 weeks. So from there, I was kind of stuck, didn't know what I was gonna do, definitely wasn't that. Had a bunch of work lined up, so I went and rented some machines. Shout out to Daniel Long. First guy I ever went and sat down with at a rental counter, and he didn't take advantage of me like most rental companies do. He helped me and rented a skid steer and a Mini X. I can't even tell you what they are, guys. It was like a Takeuchi. I think they were both Takeuchi, or one Bobcat, one Takeuchi, I can't remember. And I just started doing this work. I had no plan, I had no direction, I had no strategy, which is often why I tell you guys, hey, make sure we're planning, make sure we're strategizing, make sure we're forecasting, and making sure you need that piece of equipment before you go and buy it. Because I'm talking from experience, I did it the wrong way. I learned the hard way, and I failed a lot to get where I'm at right now, and picking up after that failure. But anyhow, from that point, I went to my mom and my stepdad, and they helped co-sign for my first set of machines, and we did a business deal that wasn't very conducive to business, and we'll get to that later on in the story. But after that, I went and got this rental equipment. I'm sitting there, day one, it's a Monday, I'm living in a camper on my in-laws' land. Sold my house, sunk my equity, lost every dollar I ever had, don't have $10 put in the gas tank to put in this dually I just bought because I was going to go be an entrepreneur. And I had to get up and go do this work. Well, come 2 days later, me and Sarah, a little bit of personal, we tried hard on multiple years to conceive with Colt. And Now we have 3 beautiful babies, but literally day number 2, after all of that pressure, she looks at me and she says, "Hey, I'm pregnant." Man, I've dealt with a lot of pressure over the years, a lot of pressures from a lot of different angles, but I'll never forget that moment standing in that fifth wheel. And since then, I kind of didn't have failure as an option. I had to just keep going and keep going and keep going. And, you know, getting work in the early years, just having a skid steer and a Mini X, early years, it was just me, and for the first 10 months, I had to answer this nonstop. The phone was everything. Dude, your local Facebook groups, guys, those are huge. Doing good work repetitively, like a good quality job, yes, you're gonna get screwed over a lot. You're gonna especially if you don't communicate. Hey, well, I spent an extra day over here and you need to pay me for that day. No, that's not how that works, guys. You gotta communicate early on. Talk about the money. It's not taboo. You're there to make money. And the more clear and transparent you are, the easier the transaction will be for you to recoup your money in the early years. That's one of the big mistakes. I felt like, oh, I can't let them know that I'm making $100, you know, or $1,000 on this or whatever it was, and it was so taboo. I wish I'd have definitely heeded that warning, but also getting work on in the early years, man, the number one thing is do quality work. Even when they're not, do the little extras that you're not quite getting paid for, that little gray area. Go ahead and take care of them, because when they walk that job, they go, dang, this looks good. That's all they see. They don't see the little things that you're, and I know some guys are gonna be like, no, don't do anything you're not getting paid for. Well, that's fine. I'm telling you from my experience, what the mistakes and the things that I did to get where I'm at right now. And that's what I did. I took care of the little things. A lot of times I ended up with the short stick of the draw when it came to money, but at the same time, they came out, saw their vision that they gave me to produce. You know, guys, you don't have a set of plans when you're out there with a homeowner that's wanting to add a shop pad next to for a carport for their camper. You don't have a set of plans. Well, I kind of want this, kind of want that, with this kind of somewhat gravel, and you got to take their kind of somewhat imagination and put it into vision. And when they come around and they smile, man, it's the little things, not the, oh, well, first thing they're going to see is, well, he didn't do that because I didn't pay him for that, and he was stuck on that. And that's the first thing they're going to see. Let them see a finished project and then go, hey, look, these are the little bit of extras I did. This is what it cost me, and there are 9 chances out of 10 are gonna take care of you. Just wanted to jump in here real quick, guys. I said earlier in the video that we don't do anything without communicating it to the owner first, and then I'm sitting here telling you to do the little things as well. What I'm trying to get at is those little things that come with the project that necessarily weren't priced items that'll take you 10, 15 minutes in the Traco as you're passing by, already doing something else on the job. Those are the little things I'm referencing right now, and I just wanted to clear that up. Yes, any material items, anything that's outside of your contract, always communicate it with the owner, but it's the small things that tie in the project that you might have already gone to them about, and they said, man, we don't need that, but you went ahead and you did it anyways, got around those trees, you backfilled the curb, and you raked all the rocks in a certain area, or whatever it was that you guys discussed. That's what I'm talking about with the little things. Don't get me wrong, bad customers are out there, I get it. Shield away from those guys. I wish I'd have done marketing a little bit sooner too, for sure, and started filming on the early years. Shout out to old Trent Harris, Blue Collar Contractors over in Oklahoma. That guy is doing a great job of it, starting early, starting with marketing from the excavation standpoint, because there's not enough of us out here doing it, and truly getting behind the scenes with you guys. So once I started landing some consistent work, I had to make my first hire. I was 10 months in. I'll never forget it. Quick story time. This video is going to be long. Sorry, guys. I hope buckle in, get some popcorn. This is when I knew I had to hire somebody. It was me, a Mini X, and a skid steer. And I was digging the dirt from the top side of the house. The wall was 27 block high, and I had to basically tar it, weatherproof it, plastic it, spider drain it all. It was me, myself, and I building berms enough so anyways, it was hilarious. But at that point, I was so dead, still trying to bid work for the next week and still trying to hit the veterinarian that called me about the dead horse at 2 a.m. so I could make an extra 200 bucks. I was deadbeat tired, I wasn't sleeping, and I knew I had enough stable work. At that point, I picked up a builder that was steady paying me every couple of weeks. I was starting to get a little bit of stability. So I took on who our estimator is now, and he was here from the early years. Dude, don't sleep on electricians. Don't sleep on plumbers. Those are the guys that have consistent work. Don't take their head off. It's not $1,000 ditch for 30 feet of ditch, guys. Like, find a consistent number that works for them that they can budget as well, and then you're just gonna budget your consistent work. And they have 30 or 40, 80 houses a year, whatever. They're gonna call you every time. They're gonna schedule with you. And so, yes, it's not a whole lot of money, and you've got this $20,000 project over here that you're concentrated on, but if you don't take care of the $200, $400, $800 ditches, you're not gonna have those ditches after that $20,000 job's done. So really pay attention to that. But Dylan came in, started, dude, he was key because he knew I shared the end goal with him, and he bought in early, and he's rented a lot of utilities over the years, and he was crucial on the early years of just dropping him off. Hey, Bob, there's the machine, there's the pipe, 280 foot, this transformer run, and we'll be done. That's exactly what we did. He would dig it, he would lay it, he would do it all himself, just like I would be. I'd be over grabbing new work, he'd be over doing the work, I'd come over, help him, get it done, wrap it up. And that's how we built that process. And then the next summer it was, needed another guy to help Dylan so I could keep consistently getting work. Anyways, so that's kind of the specifics on the early years. Drop a comment down below if you guys have any questions about the early year. I know you're going to. It's kind of a crazy story, but I ended up buying my mom and my stepdad out in year 4, and let's talk about since then and basically what we've grown to present day. So come on with it. Past about year 3, year 4, we were pretty restricted on project size, machines. After myself and Sarah taking the full leap and doing what we did, we doubled our gross revenue for 4 years after that. Let me tell you something, I do not recommend that to anybody. It's brutal unless you got processes, procedures out there for your team. Financially, unless you're locked up, solid on your accounting side of things, it's just so much growth, way too fast. It causes friction, it causes a whole lot of things. So we went through those years and we learned a lot. And I specifically learned more than I could ever imagine in the past 9 years, but especially in the last 5. We basically got with a certain type of commercial contractor that ran a bunch of underground fire suppression here locally, and we had a whole lot of volume of work, and we took care of them, and we entered into the commercial realm, and that put us on a lot of commercial jobs. And they watched us, the small superintendents. They dealt with our communication, which lacked at times back then, and it still does. But we did the extras. We did the small stuff that nobody wanted to do, and on those commercial sites directly contracted with us, and that was the baby steps into the commercial realm. After I figured out that $7,000 job I had to wait 90 days to get paid on. So that was a big learning curve there. But in the last 3 years ago, we added dirt operations. And we knew we were gonna have to add dirt operations. We were doing underground fire suppression. We obviously trickled over into the civil utility side on the commercial side of projects, and still doing some residential work, but a lot larger scale residential work than what we were messing with before. So with moving into dirt operations, we weren't just pipe guys anymore. And obviously I've had a utility background. I ran a lot of crews through this time, but eventually I transitioned above those crews into more project management, having 2 and 3 and 4 crews going at the same time. Guys, it's a lot. And I wish I would have heeded a few folks that were screaming at me and going, hey man, build your systems, build your procedures, and you'll fly. And I didn't concentrate on that. I concentrated on top line revenue, and I concentrated on having all the machines as quick as possible. And it doesn't work. And there obviously comes some frustration with that as owners, your team. And we went through some major transitions over the last year of putting those systems and procedures in place that I wish I'd have done 5 years ago. But man, the team since then has been, I can't even describe to you guys how cool it is to watch the transition actually take place. People buy into that transition with your team and instill that culture. And as long as they know that you're going to take care of them in the long run, they're going to take care of you. They're going to take care of this company, and they're going to keep coming back year after year after year, day after day. And that's something I think that I've been truly blessed with to get me this far, that I have to shine light on, is this team. We've got about 20 plus 21, 22. I honestly couldn't tell you, and we're fixing to grow through this year. There's no doubt about it. With the consistent workflow, we learned a lot over the last 2 to 3 years with adding dirt operations, but we started tackling total site work positions, projects. And that means we take care of, like this, we take care of the dirt, we take care of the water, we take care of the sewer, we take care of the storm. We even subcontract the paving out if they want to deal with us and do it all the way up. We take care of the curb and the concrete and retention ponds like behind me, and everything now under one civil scope. And you know what? It's crazy to think that 9 years ago, it was me, a skid steer, and a Mini X, almost 10. And now I'm sitting here. This Dozer was such a big deal for me and Sarah to buy and add to the fleet. Now we got a 360 out here. We got a D51. We got a skidder, dump truck. It's crazy just on the dirt crew. And then we got pipe going all over town. And I am totally blessed. I'm not sitting here going, oh, look at me, because that's not what this channel's about. That's not what this company's about. But if you sit there and you just don't take no for an answer, and you keep pushing and you keep putting your boots on, the wins will start coming. That's all I can say. I wish I'd started this marketing. I said this earlier, guys. Start videoing. Start posting. It's free. And before you got 4 or 5 crews, it's a lot easier to do. But the more you market, you're sitting there thinking, and just like I was on the early years, it was, oh, they should know who I am. They don't have a clue who you are. They still don't, 5 years into it, they still don't know you got a Mini X and you dig. And it could be your family members. And I'm telling you this from experience because there's a lot of opportunities that come with putting yourself out there in the market. Now, there's a lot of hate, and we've dealt with that here on this channel and on the podcast and everything else. But man, the team is something you have to concentrate on, the culture within that team. And then when they ask for the systems and procedures, get it for them. And that's the biggest focus on what's happening within SciCon right now. And man, the future of SciCon, you guys get to watch it because it's beyond the sky is the limit. We have the team. We're doing the right things everywhere that we need to be doing it. We're learning every single day. We're adjusting and adapting to what we're learning about. I can't wait to see what the future holds. And these guys are cranking out beautiful projects like this one and the several through town that we've got going right now. And we're being more communicative and more project coordinated heavy than we've ever been. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds. Guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. I hope you learned a little bit about me. I can assure you, you're good, go on, bud. If you want some more in-depth, go check out the bluecollarbusinesspodcast.com. The story is much more in-depth on the podcast, but that's how I started, the very brief how I started. Has nothing to do about me anymore, guys. This team, everybody behind the scenes working, but you got to provide them some goals. You got to show them where they're going. And that's your job as a leader. And it took me some time, and I lost my vision, lost my goal a little bit. And it's real easy to do when you've got 80,000 people needing answers out of you, needing questions, pulling your time in every direction, and you're just trying to be dad and husband and business owner. And now you've got yourself in a different position, and it's hard to stay focused. But I'm telling you, stay focused on your team, stay focused on where you're going, and everything will fall into place. And do quality work. Don't sell yourself short either. I did that over the years. That was terrible. Got to shout out our 2 members for the video. We got Levi with Dean Excavating, and we got Mr. Edgar. Thank you, Jeff Edgar. Thank you guys for supporting and investing I really, really appreciate you guys, more than you know. We've got some really killer content, behind the scenes stuff coming for you guys. Become a member if you want some help. Thank you guys.